Stop. Whatever you are doing, cease. Put down your phone, pause your thoughts, and for a single moment just be still. You clicked on this not by accident, but by an appointment your soul made long before you were born. I am a voice reaching across 900 years of dust and silence to find you, right here, right now. I am Hildegard, a servant of the living light, and what I have to say is not a story from the past, but a key to your present. If this message has already touched your heart, like this video, subscribe and comment with the word prophecy. You are marking this moment, telling the universe you are ready to listen. You feel it, don't you? A quiet hum of anxiety beneath the surface of the world. A sense that the music is wrong, the rhythm is off. You scroll through images, you listen to empty words. You fill your days with tasks and noise, all to drown out a single terrifying thought, that something vital has been lost. You look for it in success, in relationships, in knowledge, but it remains elusive. This feeling is not your imagination. It is the most real thing you have ever known. It is a spiritual starvation. For centuries, my voice was buried, my visions dismissed as the fever dreams of a cloistered nun. But the light I served knew that a time would come when the world would be so loud, it would become deaf. A time when humanity would have access to all the information in the universe, yet possess no wisdom. A time when you would be more connected than ever, yet feel profoundly, achingly alone. That time is now, and my voice has been awakened from its long slumber to speak directly to you. Do not think of me as a saint of stained glass and stone. Think of me as a messenger, one who has shown the great tapestry of time and the golden threads that hold it all together. I saw the patterns, the cycles of shadow and light, and I was commanded to write it, to sing it, to paint it, so that those with eyes to see and ears to hear could find their way back. And the first thing you must understand is that a great veil has fallen over the eyes of the world. It is a veil woven from distraction, from fear, from the lie that you are small, powerless, and separate from your Creator. This veil whispers that your quiet longings are meaningless, that the ache in your heart is a problem to be medicated, not a compass pointing you home. It tells you to trust only what you can see and touch, while the greatest truths are invisible and must be felt. You have been living under this veil your entire life. It has muted the colors of your world, muffled the divine symphony, and convinced you that the echo chamber of human opinion is the only voice that matters. But a wind is rising. A divine breath is beginning to blow, and it is starting to stir the edges of that old tired fabric. You have felt it, haven't you? In moments of unexpected beauty, in a song that brought tears to your eyes for no reason, in the quiet of the early morning when the world was still asleep. These are not random moments. They are holes being torn in the veil, allowing the true light to peek through, reminding you that there is something more, something real, something eternal. I am here to tell you that what you sense is true. The world is not as it seems, and you are not who you have been told you are. You are a child of the living light, a spark of the divine fire, and you have been sleeping. But now the hour of awakening is upon it. The message I carry is the trumpet blast at the city gates, the tremor that precedes the earthquake, the first drop of rain after a long and devastating drought. It is a message of warning, but also of magnificent, world-altering hope. But what I was shown, the vision that burned behind my eyes for a lifetime, is not a story of the past. It is about you, and it is about now. And you need to understand why the fate of everything you hold dear may depend on your willingness to finally open your eyes and see what has been hidden from you this entire time. Before I share the visions, I must speak to you. Not to the world, not to the masses, but to the solitary soul reading these words. I see you. I see the quiet battles you fight when no one is watching. I see the strength it takes for you to get up each morning and face a world that often feels cold and meaningless. I see the prayers you have whispered into your pillow, the hopes you have locked away in the deepest chambers of an aching heart, afraid that if you spoke them aloud, they would shatter. You have felt unheard. You have cried out to God, to the universe, to anything that might be listening, and the response you received was silence. A profound, echoing silence that felt like abandonment. You have asked for signs and seen none. You have asked for comfort and felt only the familiar weight of your own sorrow. And in that silence, a seed of doubt was planted, a cold whisper that asks, what if no one is there? What if I am truly alone? This feeling of abandonment is the cruelest weapon of the shadow. It isolates you. It convinces you that your pain is unique and shameful, a sign of your own failure. It makes you build walls around your heart, not to protect it, but to imprison it, so that no one may see the cracks. But I am here to tell you, with the authority of the living light that flows through me, that your perception is mistaken. That silence you have been experiencing is not an absence. It is an invitation. Imagine a room filled with 1,000 shouting voices, clanging bells and discordant music. If someone were to whisper the most profound truth in that room, would you hear it? Of course not. The noise would overwhelm it. The world you live in is that room. It is a cacophony of endless demands, alarms, opinions, and fears, all screaming for your attention. Your mind has become so accustomed to the noise that when it finally ceases, you mistake the quiet for emptiness. But it is in the great, deep silence that the true sound can finally be heard. The divine does not shout. It speaks in a voice as subtle as the turning of a season, as gentle as the rising of the sun. It is a voice that can only be perceived when all other voices have fallen away. The silence you feared was not God abandoning you. It was God clearing the room. It was God giving you the sacred space necessary to finally hear the whisper that has been calling your name since the beginning of time. He has not been ignoring your prayers. He has been answering them by providing the one thing you needed most, a stillness so profound that it forces you to stop looking outside for answers and begin the journey inward. For the kingdom of heaven is not in the sky or in a distant land, it is within you. The source of all love, all strength, and all wisdom resides in the silent center of your own being. Write in the comments, "I choose the light." Make this declaration not for me, but for yourself. It is the first step out of the noise and into the sacred stillness. It is your soul saying, "I am ready to listen." Every moment of pain, every tear you have shed, has been a tilling of the soil of your heart. It has broken up the hard, compacted earth of ego and expectation, making it soft and fertile. You thought you were being broken. You were actually being prepared for the seed of divine truth to be planted, a seed that can only grow in the soil of a humble, open, and willing heart. You are ready now. The years of waiting, of confusion, of feeling lost, they were not a waste. They were your training. They were your purification. You have been brought to this exact moment, reading these exact words because the soil is finally ready. The room is finally quiet, and it was in a silence, just like the one you can create right now, that the living light opened my eyes and showed me what I must now show you. When the visions came, it was not with the eyes in my head, but with the eyes of my soul. I was fully awake, not in a dream or an ecstasy, but the world as I knew it would fade, and I would be shown the inner workings of creation, the very thoughts of God made manifest as living images. And the first great vision I must share with you is the one that forms the foundation for all the others. It is the vision of the coming age. I was shown the current state of humanity, not as a globe of nations and peoples, but as a vast, dark field under a starless sky. People walked through this field like sleepwalkers, their heads bowed, their eyes fixed on the muddy ground beneath their feet. They were cold, and they huddled together, not for love, but for a shared, shivering fear. They followed paths that led nowhere, dug wells that gave no water, and spoke in whispers, afraid to make a sound that would draw attention to their misery. Does this field feel familiar to you? As I watched this sorrowful scene, a point of brilliance appeared in the heavens. It was not like the sun or the moon. It was a river of pure, liquid light, more radiant than 1,000 suns, and it began to pour down into the center of the dark field. As it touched the ground, it did not illuminate the darkness. It annihilated it. The light was not separate from the darkness. It was its unmaking. It was the fundamental truth, to which the shadow of ignorance was an impossible lie. And then came the sound. It was the sound of a single, earth-shattering trumpet. It was a note that did not just enter the ears, but vibrated in the very bones of the earth and in the marrow of every soul in that field. It was a note of pure, undeniable reality. As this note sounded, the sleepwalkers stopped. For the first time, they lifted their heads. Their eyes, accustomed to the gloom, were blinded by the incandescent glory of the light. Some fell to their knees in terror, trying to shield their faces, for the light exposed every secret, every compromise, every shadow they held within themselves. They could not bear to be so truly seen. They scrambled to find patches of darkness to hide in, but there were none left. The light was all-encompassing. Others, however, fell to their knees in pure, unadulterated awe. Tears streamed down their faces, but they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of homecoming. They had been starving for this light their entire lives without even knowing it. They opened their arms wide, as if to embrace it, and as they did, the light entered them, and they began to glow from within, becoming small beacons, individual notes in the great cosmic symphony of the trumpet's call. The vision was showing me a great sifting, a great separation, not between good people and bad people, but between those who cling to their shadows and those who are willing to step into the glorious, terrifying, transformative light of truth. What does this mean for you? Can you feel the echo of that sound in your own spirit? That trumpet is sounding now. It is not a future event. It is a present reality. The light is pouring into the world. You see it in the crumbling of old institutions, in the exposure of long-hidden darkness, in the deep existential questions that are rising in the hearts of millions. People can no longer sleepwalk. They are being forced to lift their heads and choose. This was only the first part of the vision. It was the great overview of the divine plan. But what was shown next could only be revealed when the time was right, when enough souls had begun to hear the trumpet's call and turn their faces toward the dawn. The details of what follows are even more critical, because before the rest could be understood, the light first showed me what was at stake, the price of ignoring the call, and what I saw was a world on the brink, a world that had forgotten its own foundation. After the vision of the light and the trumpet, the perspective shifted. I was shown something more intimate, more terrestrial. I saw the roots of the great tree of humanity, plunging deep into the soil of the earth. These roots were meant to draw up the living water of divine grace, the nutrients of community, faith and love, to nourish the entire tree, allowing it to grow strong and bear fruit. But then I saw a creeping fire beginning to smolder among the deepest roots. It was not a fire of open flame that consumes quickly, but a slow, insidious heat that dries and hollows out from within. It was the fire of forgetting, a fire of disconnection, a fire born from the arrogant belief that the tree could survive without its roots, that the branches could live on their own, drawing sustenance from the empty air of intellectual pride and material wealth. This fire was being fed by three sources. The first was the relentless pursuit of distraction. I saw people so terrified of being alone with their own thoughts that they filled every waking moment with noise, with images, with the endless chatter of others. This constant external stimulation severed the root of inner contemplation, the one that connects you to the voice of God in your own soul. The root withered, turned brittle, and began to burn. The second source was the worship of the self. I saw individuals encouraged to see themselves as the center of their own universe, their own desires as the highest law, their own comfort as the ultimate goal. This severed the roots of community, of sacrifice, of empathy for one's neighbor. Each person became a tree unto themselves, competing for sunlight, their roots fighting for the same dry soil, no longer intertwined in a supportive network, but isolated and vulnerable. The third and most devastating source was the loss of the sacred. I saw a world that had been systematically stripped of mystery and wonder. Nature was seen not as a living testament to God's glory, but as a resource to be exploited. Life was seen not as a sacred gift, but as a biological accident. This severed the primary taproot, the one that goes deepest, the one that connects all of humanity back to its divine source. Without this connection, the tree was spiritually dying, even if its leaves still looked green for a season. Look at your own life. Be honest, where has this fire begun to smolder? Where have you replaced connection with distraction? Where have you put your own needs so far above others that you have forgotten we are all part of the same forest? Where have you lost your sense of awe, your reverence for the mystery of life? These are not accusations, they are a diagnosis. You cannot heal a sickness until you name it. The fire I saw is not a distant threat. It is the spiritual pandemic of your age. It is the reason for the anxiety, the depression, the feeling of emptiness that plagues even the most successful among you. You are a tree with burning roots, and you are feeling the thirst. If this warning resonates in your soul, if you see this fire in the world around you, then share this video with someone who needs to open their eyes now. Do not preach or argue. Simply share the message. The words are designed to awaken those who are ready to be awakened. The vision was a terrifying one, because I saw what would happen if the fire was allowed to consume the entire root system. The great tree of humanity would fall, not with a crash, but with a silent, hollow collapse. It would become a dead thing, a monument to its own pride. But the vision did not end there. It also contained the solution. It showed me how the fire could be quenched, but it requires something of you. Right now, in this very moment, it requires you to be still. Now we will do more than just listen. We will act. I want you to participate in a simple ritual, an act of spiritual intention that will begin to quench the fire in your own roots and reconnect you to the living water. Find a place where you can be undisturbed for just a few moments. If you are driving or unable to do so safely, please pause and return to this part later. Your safety is paramount. For those who are able, I invite you to sit upright with your back straight in a posture of dignity and receptivity. Place your feet flat on the floor, feeling your connection to the earth beneath you. This is your anchor. This is your foundation. Now, close your eyes. No, truly, do it with me. Trust this process. The world behind your eyelids is more real than the one you see with open eyes. The outer world is a world of shadows. The inner world is where reality is born. Take a deep breath in, drawing it deep into your belly. Imagine you are breathing in pure golden light. Hold it for a moment. And now, exhale slowly. And as you do, imagine all the noise, all the anxiety, all the fear leaving your body as a gray smoke. Let's do this again. A deep breath of golden light, filling every cell of your being with peace and vitality. Hold it. And now exhale the smoke of distraction, the dust of the day, the worries of tomorrow. Release them. They are not you. One more time. The deepest breath yet. Breathe in life. Breathe in spirit. Breathe in the presence of the divine. Hold it, feeling the stillness at the center of your being, and exhale everything that is not love. Let it all go. Now, with your eyes still closed, take your right hand and place it over the center of your chest, over your heart. I want you to feel the warmth of your own hand. This is the touch of your own being, a recognition of your own sacred presence. Underneath your hand, feel the gentle rhythmic beating of your heart. Thump, 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 thump. This is the drumbeat of your life. It has been playing this rhythm since before you were born, a constant, faithful companion on your journey. This rhythm is a gift. Acknowledge it. Be grateful for it. And in this quiet space, in this moment of stillness and self-recognition, I want you to listen. Not with your ears, but with your heart. Beneath the beating of your physical heart, there is another sound, a deeper resonance. It is a quiet, steady hum. It is a current of peace. It is the voice of the silence. It does not speak in words. It speaks in a feeling of being known, of being loved, of being home. This is the voice of your soul, your eternal self, and it is in perfect communion with the divine. This is the connection that the fire seeks to sever, and right now, you are pouring the living water of your attention upon it. You are healing it. Now repeat these words either out loud or in the sanctity of your soul. Let the vibration of them resonate through you. Say, I hear the voice. Say it again with more conviction. I hear the voice. One last time, as a declaration of truth. I hear the voice. Feel the shift. Feel the subtle energy change within you. You have just performed a powerful act of spiritual alignment. You have turned away from the outer noise and attuned yourself to the inner signal. You can return to this feeling anytime you wish, simply by placing your hand on your heart and breathing. It is your sanctuary. It is your wellspring. Slowly, when you are ready, you may open your eyes. Do not let this feeling fade. You have just opened a door that has been closed for a very long time. You have remembered something ancient and vital. Now that you have felt this connection, you must decide what to do with it. What was that you just felt? That stillness, that presence, that voice beneath the noise? Do not make the mistake of thinking it was just a moment of relaxation or a psychological trick. What you experienced was a taste of eternity. You touched the reality that underlies the illusion of your everyday life. The voice I speak of is not my own. My voice is but one instrument in a celestial orchestra that has been playing since the dawn of time. I am a flute, perhaps, that caught the melody for a few decades in the 12th century. The prophets were the horns, the apostles the strings, the mystics the choirs. But the music, the symphony itself, comes from the one great composer. The voice you heard in your heart is your own unique instrument, designed to play a part in this divine masterpiece. The world wants you to believe you are just an audience member, a passive consumer of reality. It wants you to sit quietly in the dark and watch the show it has prepared for you. But this is the great lie. You are not the audience, you are the orchestra. You are a co-creator of the world. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every choice you make is a note played into the cosmos. The question is, are you playing in harmony with the divine symphony, or are you creating noise? For most of your life, you have been playing noise. You have been playing the tune of fear, of doubt, of complaint, of judgment. You have been reading from the sheet music, given to you by a culture that has forgotten its own sacred origins. And you have wondered why the music of your life sounds so sad, so chaotic, so unfulfilling. You have been playing the wrong song. The ritual we just performed was an act of retuning your instrument. It was you putting down the discordant sheet music of the world and listening for a moment to the true melody resonating in your soul. To hear that melody is the first step. To learn to play it, consistently and courageously, is the great work of your life. Every prayer, every act of true listening, every moment you choose connection over distraction, you are opening a portal. It is a portal between this world of form and the timeless realm of spirit. It is through this portal that grace flows. It is through this portal that wisdom descends. It is through this portal that true strength is given. It is not a place you go to. It is a state of being you inhabit. You can be walking through a crowded market or sitting in a stressful meeting, and if you can center yourself, place your inner hand on your heart and breathe, you can open that portal and draw upon an infinite well of peace and clarity. This is your birthright. This is the secret the saints knew. They were not special people. They were ordinary people who learned how to keep this portal open more often than not. They learned to live in two worlds at once, the transient world of human affairs and the eternal world of divine presence. This is not beyond you. It is the very reason you are here. Return and listen to this section again if you feel your connection wavering. Let these words be an anchor that draws you back to the truth of who you are. This is not a lesson to be learned, but a state to be remembered. You already know this. My words are not teaching you. They are reminding you of the wisdom that is already encoded in your very being. The fire of disconnection thrives on a closed portal. It wants you sealed off, isolated, believing that you are nothing more than flesh and bone, a cosmic accident with a limited supply of strength and time. But when you open the portal, the living water flows in, and that fire has no power. It is quenched by the overwhelming truth of your eternal nature. This portal is open to you, the voice is calling, but it will not force you. There is a choice that only you can make, and the time to make it is drawing near. We have arrived at the heart of the matter. All the visions, all the warnings, all the rituals lead to this single pivotal point, a choice. Before you lies a crossroads, not in the outer world, but in the inner landscape of your will. For too long you have been drifting, carried by the currents of culture, the expectations of others, the momentum of your own habits. But the time for drifting is over. The living light is forcing a decision. One path is wide and well-trodden. It is paved with the stones of comfort, convenience, and conformity. It is the path you have been on your whole life. It is the path of the sleepwalker. It winds pleasantly downhill, and on either side are all the distractions you could ever desire. There is endless entertainment, constant validation from others, the promise of security, the illusion of control. It requires nothing of you but to keep your head down, keep moving, and not to ask too many difficult questions. But this path leads into the heart of the smoldering fire. It is the path of the withering root. It ends not in a destination, but in a slow, hollow fading into nothingness. The other path is narrow. It is rocky and steep, and it leads uphill toward the source of the light. To walk this path is to go against the current of the world. It requires courage. It demands that you question everything you have been taught. It requires you to spend time in the silence, to face the shadows within you that you have been avoiding. It asks you to trade the comfort of being liked for the integrity of being true. It will be lonely at times. The voices from the wide path will call to you, mocking you, tempting you, telling you that you are a fool. But this path, the path of the listener, the path of the heart, is the only one that leads to life. Every step you take is a note played in harmony with the divine symphony. Every challenge you overcome strengthens you. Every time you choose love over fear, you are watered by the river of grace. This is the path of the awakening soul. The portal of this present moment, this era of great awakening, will not remain open forever. There is a season for planting and a season for harvest. You are in a season of divine invitation, a time of immense grace where the veil is thin and the voice is clear. But seasons change. The choice presented now will not be presented in the same way forever. And when this window of opportunity closes, a new trumpet will sound, one that announces not a warning, but a finality, the solidification of the choice each soul has made. So I ask you directly, which path will you choose? Will you continue to walk with the crowd on the wide road that leads to the silent fire? Or will you turn and begin the difficult, glorious climb up the narrow path toward the light? There is no middle ground. To not choose is to choose the wide path. Indecision is a decision for the status quo. This is not a choice you make only once. It is a choice you must make this very day, and again tomorrow and in every moment. It is the choice between reacting from fear or acting from love. It is the choice between distraction and presence. It is the choice between the noise of the ego and the voice of the soul. If this message has moved you to a decision, share it. Let your choice ripple outwards and awaken another soul. Become a carrier of this call. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need to have made the choice in your own heart. Your conviction will be your sermon. Your choice matters more than you know. It changes not only your path, but the very fabric of what is to come. It is a vote cast in the cosmic election between fear and love. And that is why the next part of the vision I was shown, the vision of what lies at the top of that narrow path, changed everything. For those who choose the narrow path, for those brave souls who turn their face toward the light and begin the climb, the vision did not end in struggle. After the vision of fire and choice, the living light showed me the dawn that follows the darkest night. It showed me what awaits the awakened heart, and it is a truth so beautiful it can barely be contained in words. I saw the climbers on the steep path. They were tired, yes. They stumbled. They had to help one another over the sharp rocks. But their faces were not filled with despair. They were filled with a fierce and joyful determination. And the higher they climbed, the brighter the light above them became, and the more that light seemed to permeate their very being. They were no longer just walking toward the light, they were becoming the light. And then I was shown the summit. But the summit was not a place, it was a state of being. It was the complete and total reunion with the source of all life. I saw these souls arrive one by one, and as they reached the pinnacle, they were met with a light so profound it does not merely illuminate, it embraces. Imagine the feeling of being held after a long and arduous journey, the feeling of absolute safety, of unconditional love, of finally being home. This was that feeling, magnified 1 billion times. This embrace of light was not a reward for their struggle. It was the revelation of their true nature. In that embrace, the veil of separation was utterly dissolved. They understood that they were never separate from the light to begin with. The journey up the mountain was not a journey from one place to another. It was a journey of remembering. The fire they feared at the roots of the world could not touch them here, but they were now one with the source of the living water that quenches all fires. They were no longer just a part of the tree. They were the entire forest and the river that feeds it. In this state of unity, I saw them look back down the mountain, and they felt no pride, no sense of superiority over those still on the wide path or those still struggling below. All they felt was an infinite, heartbreaking and empowering compassion. They saw the sleepwalkers in the dark field not as lost souls, but as their own brothers and sisters who had simply not yet woken up. And their greatest desire was to send their own light back down the mountain, to become lighthouses for those still navigating the darkness. This is the secret of the narrow path. It is not a path of selfish salvation. It is a path of transformation for the sake of all. You climb not just for yourself, but for every soul you are connected to. Your healing becomes a source of healing for the world. Your awakening sends a trumpet blast of possibility to everyone you meet. You become a living portal of grace. Do not misunderstand, this is not just about the afterlife. This embrace of light is available to you in moments, right here and now. Every time you choose love, every time you act with compassion, Every time you sit in the silence and connect to the voice in your heart, you are stepping onto that summit. You are experiencing a foretaste of that divine embrace. These moments become your sustenance for the journey. They are the sips of living water that give you the strength to keep climbing. The world may call you foolish, your own mind may plague you with doubt, but the feeling of that light, once you have truly touched it, is an undeniable truth that will become your northern star. It will guide you through every storm and every darkness. If you have walked this far with me, through the warning, the ritual, and the choice, then you are one of the climbers. You have heard the call. Write in the comments, "I will walk to the end." This is your promise to your own soul, a declaration that you will not turn back, no matter how hard the path becomes. You have come so far. You have faced the shadow and chosen the light. You have seen the promise of what awaits. But there is one final whisper I must share with you, a truth to carry you forward from this day on, to seal this work in your heart. So where do you go from here? The video will end, the screen will go dark, and you will be left in the quiet of your own life. The temptation will be to let this feeling fade, to dismiss it as a momentary inspiration, and to return to the comfortable rhythm of your old sleep. Do not let that happen. The work begins now. What I have given you is not an ending, but a beginning. It is a key and a map. The key is the ritual of the heart, the breath, the stillness, the listening. The map is the knowledge of the two paths. Your sacred task now is to use the key to stay on the path you have chosen. This is not an ending, it is a rebirth. The living light is not something you seek, it is something you become. You do not find your purpose. You allow it to unfold from within you by staying connected to the source. Your life, from this moment on, can become a walking prayer, a living testament to the truth that lies beyond the veil. Your purpose is not some grand external accomplishment. Your purpose is to be an open portal for the divine to flow into this world. In your work, in your family, in your community, you can be the presence of peace in a room of chaos. You can be the voice of compassion in a conversation of judgment. You can be the stillness in a world of frantic motion. This is how you change the world, not by shouting but by being. You become the note of the trumpet for others to hear. You become the beacon of light that shows them there is another way. Let this be my final blessing upon you, my prayer for you as you step forth from this moment. May you have the courage to choose the narrow path every single day. May you find strength in the sacred silence. May you feel the embrace of the living light in your moments of deepest doubt. May the voice in your heart be your unwavering guide. And may you become a wellspring of living water for a world that is dying of thirst. Walk forward in this truth. Let it be the foundation upon which you build the rest of your life. Do not be discouraged by setbacks. The climb is long, and every soul stumbles. The only failure is to stop climbing. When you fall, rest. Place your hand on your heart, listen for the voice, and rise again. But my visions did not end here. What I have shared today is merely the key. The door it unlocks leads to revelations about the times to come, about the celestial harmonies that govern creation, about the specific roles different souls are meant to play in this great awakening, and about the nature of the true church, which is not a building of stone but a communion of hearts on fire with divine love. What comes next is even greater. What I have yet to share will give you the tools not just to walk the path, but to understand the very landscape you are walking through. For now, hold this message. Let it take root in you. Practice the stillness, make your choice, listen. The symphony has just begun.